Okay, so I've always kind of had anxiety. I think partly because my mum had it as well, or still has it. I also think because of some of my experiences growing up. My biological father was an abusive drug addict, and he would beat my mother in front of me and my brother while we were between 1 and 5. She left him when I was about 3, but we still saw him. We lived in women's shelters, council homes. I have very vivid memories of him hitting my mum and me having to look after my brother and kind of try and stop him from remembering it. When she met my stepdad when I was 5 and they got married, he drove in the RAF. So we left, and I didn't see him or talk to him for about 8 years. And then I saw him once when my nan died, and then I haven't spoken to him again since. I think a lot of my anxiety comes from me overthinking in my head. So I'll tend to stay in my head, and I might take things differently than how people have meant them. I used to struggle really bad in social situations. If I didn't know someone, I didn't talk to them. I didn't go out. When the first lockdown for COVID happened, my life literally did not change anything about it. In April of 2019, just before my GCSEs, I got diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, and I was given 20 milligrams of citalopram to take every day. When it was at its worst, I just stayed in myself really. I stayed in my room, I didn't really talk to anyone. I would get angry if things didn't go how my head had thought they should go. I'd overthink what people said and what people did, and it would turn into something completely different in my head. I would tend to rabbit hole with my thoughts, so someone would say something or do something, and I'd go over it and over it in my head, and it would just stay with me for a really long time, and it would start to affect me physically as well as mentally. So I'd stop eating or going out or taking care of myself. I lost a lot of weight when I was younger. So I would be stuck in my head a lot, and that people around me would notice, and I would just distance myself from people and the things that were going on in my life or any events or anything. My great-granddad died, and he raised my mum, and she was having a really hard time with it, so I kind of had to step back and stop myself from thinking about that, so I didn't really deal with it. And then I got obsessed with it for a couple of months. That was just in my head, that was all I could think about. And I get really slow and with my thoughts and my actions. And it would get frustrating for me because I knew I was better than that. Yeah, so I wouldn't always realise when I was overthinking something, and I wouldn't really feel it until I got into a space that I trusted and was familiar with. I was usually either just alone in my room or with my mum. She's really amazing because she goes through it as well. She'd look at me and she'd know I needed a hug or something, and then I'd start crying and realise what was going on. Got better after I got used to my medication, and I started to challenge myself with things. Like I couldn't even phone people. I couldn't go to the hairdressers or the doctors. I couldn't use debit cards because they freaked me out. I could only pay with cash. I think what helped my first job, I was telephone support for a care company, so I got used to calling people that way. I can do that now. I can pay with card, I have genuinely gotten a lot better. It's really frustrating to me sometimes when people just blatantly say, yeah, I've got anxiety, I deal with it a lot, when you might just be feeling anxious. Because it is such a hard thing to actually have to deal with. I would get angry at my friends. I know a lot of people don't have it diagnosed and do deal with it, but it feels so obvious when they're only just dealing with it in that moment and not all the time. I want to change.